Hey guys, in today's video I want to talk about jungling Pokémon and how you specifically can be a better jungler in Unite. So I'm gonna go over the basics of jungling, what characters you should be choosing for jungle, and then go over some jungle pathing and some tips and tricks on how to, be a better jungler in Unite. Very straightforward. And if you guys enjoy this kind of content, I obviously would like if you subscribe to the channel and like the video. So let's talk about jungle. Jungle is the carry role in this game. It's the one that will be the highest level over the course of the entire game. And you want to have someone in jungle who deals insane damage in teamfights and can carry you in late game teamfights by being level 14 and 15. So what are those carry junglers, right? We have Cinderace, Decidueye, Gardevoir, Duraludon, Gwinja, Charizard. I feel like those are the basic, or Venusaur as well. Those are the hyper carries that if you have them in jungle, they will be able to, they're the ones the key for you to win teamfights, right? If they're supported by good supports, good tanks, they will be the one, carrying. And I think there's a big misconception about jungling, but it's because of the game as well. The game tells you speedsters are junglers, right? And attackers go to lane, like Cinderace. If you block in Cinderace in a tutorial, it will tell you, go to lane with this character. Obviously, big misconception, and I think a lot of people believe that as well. Cinderace, Decidueye, and Duraludon are just like, or Greninja are just not good lane characters. I mean, they are fine. Duraludon's actually good in lane, but Cinderace, Greninja are terrible laning characters. And in jungle, you just get a free pass to late game, right? You have free experience, you don't have to fight anyone over for it. So hyper carries in jungle, the higher level they are, the more damage they will do, and it's just absolutely insane. And then we also have the other part of junglers, which are the speedsters. Stuff like Absol, Zaora, Talonflame, maybe Machamp as well, Dragon Knight. Those are like supportive junglers, Gengar. And they're not necessarily hyper carries, but they can help you snowball games, right? Because they deal insane damage much earlier on, and they hit power spikes much earlier. So let's talk about looking at team comps, right? If you want to be a better jungler in solo queue, maybe think more about how your team comp looks like. So if your team has good tanks, good frontline, you can just pick Cinderace and just win the game, Duraludon, just win the game. But what if your team all picks 3-4 range attackers? Then I see my jungler also picking an attacker. I'm like, probably should pick something more supportive. Like you can pick like a Dragon Knight to make sure you get all the dreads to help out that XP loss that you probably have on lanes due to bad laners, right? You can pick up Absol to make sure that those bad laners have a higher chance of making it to late game, because Absol has such strong level 5 power spikes that Absol can carry a game to late on. And Talonflame is a big outliner though. Talonflame is just always good. But even if your team if your team picks tanks and supports, and you just lack damage, somewhere. Maybe you don't pick Talonflame. Pick something that can actually carry late game team fights much safer, like a Cinderace. It already comes into thinking, a lot of people don't think, oh, looking at my team comp, maybe I should pick a different jungler. They just kinda pick whatever they want to play, which obviously is fine, right? But if you think a bit ahead as well and feel like, oh, my team picks only attackers, let's just pick something that can make me sure that I can secure the objective. And that's another part, objective secure. Right? If you notice your team doesn't have objective secure, maybe pick a jungler that has it, right? So don't pick Charizard if your team has no objective secure. Don't pick, but if your team actually has it, you can pick Charizard wherever you want. If you feel like, oh, we have a Lucario with Power Punch who will be able to secure Dreadnoughts. We have a Duraludon in lane who can secure it. Then you can go for characters like that. Venusaur or Charizard are just very, very bad characters at like securing things compared to someone like Cinderace. Cinderace is great at securing things. Dragon Knight, Absol as well, Talonflame, those are very good last hitting on objectives. So always make sure that you have at least some objective clear in your team picked, right? Very, very important. And yeah, besides that, hyper carries and jungler are still the best. They're superior because you can just carry late game teamfights hard. Like someone like Absol just falls off very hard. Machamp, like they're not designed to 1v9 late game teamfights. So someone like Venusaur, Duraludon, Cinderace, Greninja can absolutely insane hard carry Gardevoir as well, Charizard, late game teamfights on their own without necessarily needing allies as well. I mean, they kind of need allies, they need frontline stuff, right? But they do such crazy damage and have such huge damage potential that they can 1v9 almost every single game. And now we come to the most important thing, which is jungle pathing. First of all, knowing where the lead pop goes is quite straightforward. Are you on the grassy side, the lead pop will walk towards top lane, where the blue buff spawns, and if you're on the sand side, the lead pop will walk downwards. It's very important for characters who don't have a jump, like Charizard, as an example here. Very important that you know how to jump over the wall. Otherwise, or like wait which way you have to go. So already now at red buff, you already have to think about which lane do I want to gank. You consistently look at your minimap while clearing this, or move your map camera and see which lane is overextending, which lane should I be ganking, right? And you have to make decisions based on that. And you can either decide to go for the top or bot Corpfish first. You can also level 4 ganks if you see, oh my god, the enemy team is so deep on my side of the map. You will just go join a fight. That's also totally possible. In this game, it was kind of, you know, kind of neutral. Nothing was really happening. So I'm just doing a normal jungle rotation. And then I walk towards my Lucario lane. So that's like 2 things. I'm just going to pause right here. There's 2 things you want to weigh in. It's like you have like a checklist. First of all, is the enemy team overextending on the lane? I should gank that lane, right? If they're on our side of our APOMs, our Dino trying to score already, you can just you don't have to do 2 Corpfishes, you can just go straight to the lane. Or you see, oh my god, there's gonna be a fight, the enemy team is brawling so much, there's still our Dinos up, that's your second point. Are our Dinos still up on bot side? And is my team and the enemy team just fighting over nothing? And if I come there, can I get free experience by making sure my team gets my side Dinos, right? Or their side Dinos? That is like the checklist you should be doing. And third checklist is, if nothing of this happens, you will check which team or which lane will help me win Bs, right? You want to win Bs. You don't want to gank a lane where you can't get experience in. So you want to be on the stronger lane and make sure that you get that experience, right? So here we have a Lucario, bot lane Hooper, Mammothswine is also great to gank. Pretty much in this game, we do have a Rights on top side as well, which is quite weak, but Lucario is so strong early game as well that he can just help me maybe get kills and stuff. But honestly, bot side was probably better for me to gank this game. So when I have a Wigglytuff, I pretty much always go to the Wigglytuff lane because that means free Bs and potentially kills as well, right? Same for like a Mammothswine. I probably should have been bot lane in this game. And that's like a checklist you should go through. So first, is the enemy team overextending? Yes, then go there. Our Dino's still up on my bot side because my team is overextending? Go there. And then third one, which lane will help me secure the Bs? Because obviously you want to get experience, right? You want to be the one that carries games. And yeah, just looking for a cheeky score here. Can always look for that as well. And the fourth checklist actually is the fourth checklist, which is, do you want to counter gank the enemy jungler and make sure that your overextending lane doesn't die as well? If you still see at like 9, 10 your lane overextending on the enemy side, maybe just go there, make sure they don't get caught, like just cover them. Make sure you can get a counter gank in, so that when your team dies, you at least maybe get a counter kill in. Counter ganking is very strong as well. So what I can also recommend is that like at 9, at minute 9, you can just stay here, where a speed berry spawns. But if you're really not sure where to gank, just stay there at 9 minutes, take a speed berry, and then decide which lane you want to go to. You still have 10 seconds left to decide what lane you want to go for, and if one of your lanes overextending, just run towards there, and you probably get a good counter gank in. Obviously, like, you can also try to predict the enemy jungle's pathing, right? Like, if you're the one that ends up top side, there's a higher chance he's bot side, but everyone does very weird jungle rotations in solo queue, and some people like go like this sometimes, or they go like this, and then it's kind of hard to predict where the enemy jungler will be, because everyone has very, very different jungle pathing in general, because they also want to do the same thing, right? They want to go to the lane that gives them the highest chance of winning the game and giving them experience. So this is something, now we come to the biggest mistake that most junglers do, which is staying in lane too much. So the B spawn, here the enemy Charizard was like, I want to counter gank as well, he's way too late, I get the B. Now let's make sure you don't waste time. After the Bs are dead, don't waste time. It's very important to be at your second jungle rotation, especially in solo queue. Why? Because it's free experience, right? You don't have to fight anyone over it. Because it prevents counter jungling as well. Like, if you're not at your buffs instantly, there's a high chance you get counter jungled by the enemy team, and you get counter jungled by your own team. If your team sees your buffs being up for a long time, you might have someone just start walking towards them, which means you will lose experience. And now again, so we clear both buffs, right? We clear both buffs. Actually, can even get some yellow in. We clear both buffs. And after that, you have a decision to make. I will go for this Corpfish. And let me go back a bit. There's 2 decisions I can make now. If I see the Corpfishes are still up, yes, I can do this, I can go this, and I can see how many Corpfishes up in mid lane and do something. If I see towards the lane that there's something happening, I can go gank that as well. Those are 2 decisions you can make after your second buff rotation. And very important to, I always like try to hack this wall and just see if the Corpfish is up. And if they're still up, then I will still go for them as well. But right now, in this game, enemy team is very overextended. So just looking for the gank, get a nice kill, and get level 7. So doing your second buff rotation instantly, again, prevents counter jungling as much as it can. And very, very important to not get counter jungled. Also, because you do your second buff so fast, you get a third one in, which means you will be level 9 pretty much every single game. Like, I pretty much only got 1 kill this game, right? And I'm almost already level 8. Now I'm look for a mid Corpfish. And again, jungle buffs have 1 minute respawn timer, so I already like timed it in my head when it's gonna respawn again. And since I did them so fast, there's nothing really I can do right now. I'm just gonna wait for it to respawn right here. It's about to be spawn any second. And then we go for our third buff rotation. And look how fast we are. We actually might even be a bot beast in time. So this jungle strat doesn't really play about these bot beasts, right? But if you have a fast jungler, you can actually almost make it there. If you really don't waste time on the beast on somewhere and instantly go back to your buffs, you can save a lot of time and you can actually make it to the beast as well. But yes, I do sacrifice beast in solo queue because if I lose those, I'm not level 9. And not being level 9 is just, you know, being level 9, you can just decide the fight instantly. Okay, I mistimed a bit. So now the buff spawns again. We take this as well. And this pretty much secures you level 9 almost every single game. And I think it's just the best jungle pair thing. Of course, it relies on your bot lane not dying, which is also quite scuffed right now, because your bot lane might die sometimes. But yeah, this is just what I like doing. And you can see I'm level 9. I pretty much only got 1 kill this game. I never scored. I only have 1 kill. I'm level 9 without any problem at 7-5, right? So, of course, Absol did give me good experience from that 1 kill, but normally you get kills, right? As a jungler, on your first or second gank, you will probably get a kill. That's quite straightforward. People always overextend. So Charizard is a bit awkward. So now you, like, this is also, depending on what jungler you are, either you instantly start doing this and you're really confident in your last hitting ability, but if you play someone like Charizard, Venusaur, I mean, I guess Venusaur can kind of last hit with Unite move as well. Like, this will be Unite move by, like, a Greninja, by Cinder Ace. They will start Unite moving this to make sure they get it. But as a Charizard, you want to go in. It just depends. Does your character have last hitting or not? So I want to kill my opponents first, get level 9, just mow them over, and then we turn our attention back to Dread. Make sure we just want this Dread very, very badly over everything else. And after this, we also don't waste too much time again. We can try and look for a kill. Our buffs are respawning as well soon. It's very, very important to be insanely efficient. Like, you want to be always 14-15. If you're not 14-15 as a jungler by Zapdos, you're doing something terribly wrong. So now we score fast, and after that, you will see me recalling instantly, and I will go back for another buff rotation. And after that as well, like, you just used your Unite move on Zapdos, which means farming time. Don't overextend in lanes without Unite move, because you're the highest level in the game. If you die now, you donate so much experience over to the enemy team. So I decided to do red buff here first. Obviously, blue buff would make more sense, but I will do blue buff and then start rotating top lane, right? So just adjusting my pathing. So we do red buff first, go to blue buff, and then we can start moving towards top side where there might be stuff happening and beasts are spawning. So very, very important that when your Unite is down as a jungler, you farm. Very, very important. You don't want to die to okay, this ended right here. You don't want to die. It's very, very important to go back to farming and make sure that you have your Unite move for the next team fight. You can maybe defend some golds, you can go for some beasts, but besides that, don't do too much. So I just want to talk about the level 1 to level 5 jungle pathing very fast, because a lot of people actually, I think, do corp fishes first instead of a buff, which I just very disagree with. I just don't think it makes much sense, and I will show you, like, deciding on where you want to go, it's quite simple. So if you're playing something like Town Flame, obviously you want to go by the wall. We're on grass side, so the Lillipup walks top side. So we clear this very fast. And some people actually just go here and do this Corpfish. I mean, it kind of stops you from maybe being invaded on a Corpfish. But if you get invaded by a Greedent, it's very bad, because you might have to fight over your blue buff, which, you know, is very hard. So right now, you don't have to go to this Corpfish either. It depends. Do you want to gain top lane? You just go towards here. You know, if you decide, okay, I want to go towards top lane, I kite the camp towards this side, right? And then you do this Corpfish into this Corpfish. But what if you want to decide you just want to gank bot side, right? Then you just kite the camp over here. It's not simple. Just kite the camp over here, and then you can do this Corpfish into this Corpfish. You really don't waste much time either. But I think this is much better, you know, just to make sure your buffs respawn as fast as possible, right? Like, if you do camp into Corpfish into camp into Corpfish, these buffs just respawn very, very late and out of sync for, you know, taking them right before Dread now. Of course, this is like a strat for junglers that only want to do maybe 2 buffs, but in general, in solo queue, I would really, recommend doing a triple buff rotation, because it just secures your level 9 pretty much in 90% of the games. Very, very important to do. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if there's anything else you would like to know, and see you in the next video. Bye!